Hi, I'm Sarah.
And I'm Chantele. And we're talking about Sunday night's episode and the live feeds.
We got just a couple spoilers here for you guys. Not a lot. Couple important things have happened. But first, if you're new to this channel, please click subscribe and give this video a thumbs up. Chantele, how are you?
Yes, I'm great. I mean, you know that I'm a Big Brother super fan. I am happy though that the season is coming to an end. I do wish that they changed their format and maybe condense
Oh,
the last
please.
week and just take out this entire week and have it just a jam-packed final week. They can do an extra episode if they want, but we didn't need, in my opinion, this stretch to Wednesday and then have a 2-hour episode later in the evening. It's like, we really didn't need that, I felt.
No,
so
we never do.
Not to complain. I love Big Brother, but
yeah,
tweak.
Yeah, I don't know why year after year they keep. It must just be the network gives them this many episodes. Production is like, great, we get a whole week to put them together. I don't know, because for us, this is such a boring end game.
But to a fantastic season. It's kind of like, as I hate to say it, but as soon as the six started to dissolve, all the gameplay just completely disappeared. And then as somebody that's been watching so intensely, like what's been going on this season, to see that none of the people that really had much to do with how the beginning game was just so electric and so gamey. And it's kind of like, oh, we just got left with literally the people that don't know what was going on in the game, pretending like they know what was going on in the game, and that was their doing.
It's so funny when people who weren't involved in moves are sitting at the end game going, how did this happen? Oh, well, I totally know what happened when they don't know what happened. It is really, really funny to watch. But yeah, if you're just watching the TV episodes, Madison, yeah, like it's just us live feedsters that are like, oh, this is so slow.
But are the episodes entertaining? I mean, I might just have a biased opinion because personally, I know we're talking about yesterday's episode, but I didn't find it to be entertaining. If anything, and it could be because I'm a feeder, is that I'm just like yelling at my TV, being like, that's not true. That's a lie. Stop it. No way. Nobody believes that. Like, that's what my whole participation was like. My team was losing at like some sporting event and I'm screaming at my TV. So yeah, I didn't particularly enjoy it. I didn't take any notes because it was all not factual. And
I love this episode every season because the final three always talks up their game, no matter what their game was.
Yeah.
And that to me is entertaining. Although if I was just watching the episodes, I might not realize what they're lying about. But it makes me chuckle when I'm like, that's cute. Okay.
That's what you think.
That's what you think. Okay. That's a darling. But then we also had a clip show on Friday. I don't care about clip shows. Like,
why both? Couldn't they have condensed it? Like, and why couldn't they use some of these, like the clip show stuff in like the 2-hour episode the week before where there just was like 95 commercial breaks? Like, I'm just curious as to how they've been constructing these things in the end game.
Right.
If they want to show that information, they had time to show this stuff. Like, I would have loved to see the cookout, like really around the table talking about what it means for them to be there. Like, I thought that was a really nice moment from the Friday clip show episode. Like, it was really beautiful to see how people have been treated. I could relate to pretty much every single person's their situation, life experience. And so it was a beautiful moment for me to experience. And I'm like, why are you waiting until everybody's tuned out of the season and are basically just waiting until the finale to show what the whole reason behind them sticking together? I just think it was a misstep, and they could have had that from a long time ago, like when it happened, and allowed that to be give some understanding and some context for some of the people that are just casual viewers as to what this mission was and how much it really meant to the people and also viewers like myself.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's so interesting that this time that they're sitting at that table is the first time they have been able to sit at the table all together and openly talk about their experiences and what this meant to each of them to support each other and
Mhm.
stick together. Like they
And
didn't have the opportunity earlier in the season to even do this talk.
absolutely, and, like, if we look at it as a parallel to the game in previous seasons, they were never even allowed at the table. They were never even made it to jury. They never even got that far, like, if you just look collectively, and so they're finally being invited to the table, and we didn't get to see it until, like, a month and a half after it happened.
Yeah, and that could have been the whole episode. You could have done
Oh my god, that'd be
something historic for
amazing.
yeah, for the whole episode, because yeah, the show stuff is fine, but, like, I honestly don't care to relive Frenchie's HOH and demise. The only thing I like is the montage of them crying in the DR. That's the only thing I like.
You?
Yeah, because I love to laugh at it, not cry with them, but I enjoy that. I don't even think we saw Travis. I do not think
Really?
Travis was
I'm
in
just kidding.
this clip show. Yeah, I was like, "Wait, did
Um,
he, like,
I
write a
think
letter?"
he did a diary room thing. I saw him maybe sitting into the diary room seat once. So I don't know if it was part of that crying montage or around Frenchie's HO, like before, I don't know, maybe around that
Yeah,
time. But I only think I saw a snippet of him once.
I it almost made me think he, like, pulled his release or something and was like, "Nah, I'm done." Uh, how
Really?
little
He
he
seems
was
so
in it.
easygoing. Like why would you think that he would do that maybe?
I don't have a reason other than the fact that they couldn't find any footage on him. I mean, we had
There's footage
so
of him. There
much,
has to be.
right? There has to
Yeah.
be. If he gave us so much of Frenchie and he was not there much longer,
But,
past
like, did we get
Travis.
that much of Brent, though? Not really. And I'm
Oh,
sure that
that's true.
he
But he
would have
was in
really
it. I
loved.
do remember he was in it, but thank you. He didn't need to be in it a lot.
Now
Yeah, the only other highlight I had was Claire's story. I enjoyed that because we didn't get
on
that
the
during the season.
hammock. Yeah, no, that was really
Mhm.
nice. I really, I know that Claire's your favorite player. I loved Claire as well. I love Derek X. I I did love seeing those players again. Was there a jury segment or was that the night before? I can't remember right now.
Yeah, night before.
The
Mhm.
night before? Oh, I was gonna say, well, I love the jury segment. That's how much of like this episode didn't mean anything to me.
Yeah, no, the jury, great. Love it. More of them? Absolutely. Friday's whole episode of the jury? Sure. Sign
Why
us
couldn't
up.
they do that though? That would have been like epic to just see them talk the whole time about like what's going on, what happened, and like how are they. I would love to see a full 1 hour episode of the jury.
Yeah,
Beautiful. Those are the people
absolutely.
that we want to see play. Yeah.
We also in the past have gotten a luxury comp around this time just to
Mhm.
fill time, and we have not had that this year. So that's just more of drawing these episodes out with very little content. But let's talk a little bit about this episode from last night. We go through the final three and why they think they got here and why they deserve to be here. And like I've already said, they just have to make it sound good for themselves. No one's gonna sit there and be like, I slept the whole time. So look at me. Here I am.
I don't.
And
Okay,
so
that
nothing of value here.
it's the reason why it bothers me so much is because we know a lot of people did a lot more work. Like it's very obvious that there's people that I feel were
Oh, sure.
better suited to be sitting in the final three seats. And just the fact that they're taking credit for so many things that had sometimes nothing to do with them, it just makes me angry that someone's going to be rewarded $750,000 for lying about like or taking credit for a game that wasn't there. It's like they cheated on the test and they get the money and they're gonna get away with it. It just
Yeah.
bugs me. But I love it.
I mean, yeah, I mean that's kind of how the game is built. If you can slide by, if you can get the other people out, if you can get other people to take other people out, and then you can sit pretty at the end. And
But
honestly, that's where we are this year.
they're not really doing that though. You know what I mean? Like if they just own the real game, I could be down with like these final three. It's just the fact that they're just so disillusioned by like what they think they've done and what they like. Are they going to be sharing these thoughts to the jury, and where they can be like, actually, I'm here to fact check that was not true. Like, how are they going to be able to say the same speech with the culprits staring at them right in their face, their vote in their hand? It's just, I mean, that would be very interesting to see. Like, hey, so Big D, you're really going to say that you were the godfather of the cookout?
Yeah.
Really?
Oh,
really?
Yes, he is. Like maybe Xavier and Ozzo will be a little more thoughtful with what they say. But yes, Big D honestly thinks he did all of the things that he lists. So if he says it, I'm here for the just pan across the jury faces or the cookout jury faces, so I can see those responses. Thank you for the super chat, super sticker. Appreciate it. So besides the top three talking about their game, we are going to get to see the part one of HOH. They did not give us the little times at the bottom. And if I remember from the feeds, it was like less than a half an hour. Is that right? Am I remembering this correctly?
I was just going to ask you the same thing. I'm like, how long did it last? Is exactly what I was going to ask you. And I was like, did I blink and miss it? But it seems like they never showed it. And it's probably because it was really short, because I think that it wasn't a good one for this particular final three. Like, I want to see them out there for 12 hours. I want to see them. If they're not going to be playing like some masterful game, I want to see who really wants it. And we got kind of robbed of that, you know, like, okay, so I guess Xavier wants it more than Ozza and Big D, but they just kind of fell off. It's not because like they're just like, I can't do it anymore. It's like they slipped. So
yeah, that's exactly what I thought Winston was 26. So the fact that you're saying 26 means that I am remembering correctly. Okay. So yeah, Big D, I don't know when he fell. He fell first. But Ozza tried to readjust. She looked like she was solid. It looked like we would be able to go for a while, but she falls at 26 minutes and that's it. Yeah, it's kind of a bummer that is our endurance part one. We have seen some of these go for hours.
Absolutely. All their endurance comps have not been very long this season. And like, that's what I like about the endurance comps is that it makes them suffer. Like, and I want to see who wants it the most.
I think that holding on to something is great. Throwing rain and stuff at them is great. It makes it hard. But I think there's something about laying on your stomach that is not exciting to watch, right?
No. It's just like it makes sexual innuendos. Like it's like is that all this competition was for? Was the innuendos?
God, I hope not. Right? Way more than that. Like the hanging from things, holding on to things. Like these are exciting to watch. Hanging upside down from things. Like this is laying on your stomach. Looks like you could just do it all night, right?
Well, and like it didn't go the way that I wanted to, but when Janelle was holding the key in All Stars, like season 7, and you know, and she just was like, you know what I mean? She just took her hand off for like a second, and like that would have probably gone on forever, and Janelle probably would have won the game. But yeah, it just that would have been a better competition than this one. Like, hold on to your key. Like, why doesn't the key matter anymore? Like, what's happening?
The key. Well, I mean, no one is surprised here that Xavier's going to pull out this win anyway, right? He's going to take part one. Maybe if Ozza had fallen accidentally early, maybe he would have thrown it to Big D, but he certainly wasn't going to throw this to Ozza.
Would he? If he did, I can't stand that. Like right now, I'm rooting for Ozza to win. Well, okay, so I want Ozza to win the game because I want him to have made a big blunder with taking out Kylan. Like I want people to have to, you know, pay their dues for like the mistakes that they've made in this game, and I don't want him to be rewarded with a win. So right now I'm rooting for an Azza win. Go Sag.
Okay. Yes, go Sagittarius. I'm down for that. But okay. But in Xavier's mind, especially at this point, we'll get into spoilers here in a minute. But at this point, with just part 1, yes, win it, great, all for it. But if he really wants it to be between him and Big D, and he knows he can more than likely beat Big D at part 3 and in the game, and not have to worry about what Azza would do, I could see if he was in a position to throw this to Big D to do it, then he knows he can beat Azza in the next round. But maybe he doesn't know he could beat Azza in the next round, and it doesn't matter, and he was going to win this no matter what. I don't know.
Well, imagine that he did that. I mean, it would just be so tasty if he throws it to Big D, then he loses to Azza in the second one, and then Azza wins part 3 against Big D, like, and Xavier is just iced out, basically. That would be amazing. But if he did that, that's just it's too bad. He's not that bad.
Well, he doesn't do it. He's going to win part 1 here, and no one is surprised. And you know what? Big D's in a pretty good mood. This is what they talked about. Xavier was probably going to win part 1, and Big D will win part 2 here. He'll beat Azza. He feels good about it. All is well here at the end of this episode.
I guess. I mean, I just think it's just so interesting to me, like Big D's logic, right? Because he has not won anything in this game. He's come second a couple of times, absolutely, but he's literally not have won one single competition in this game, all different types. Hasn't been a question, hasn't been like crapshoot, like nothing. He's not won any of these games. So why is he just like, yeah, I'll beat Azza this next one? Like, have you watched the show? It's usually physical with days. Like, I just remember seeing Janelle pulling herself on like some pulley thing back and forth, like very physical. And he hasn't been excelling in these physical competitions. So is it just the lack of like not knowing what type of competition it's going to be, or just having like the biggest ego, thinking that he could just beat her no matter what?
I'm convinced it's his Pisces moon. I'm convinced he lives in a delusional world.
Mm-hmm.
And he is a mastermind. He manipulated people left and right, and he will obviously win and beat Azza. Right? He's better than Azza in everything. That is how
backpacked her. He grocery shopping bagged Azza to the final 3.
Did. That's right. So of course he would win this. This is the world. I know to us, it makes no sense. Logically, no sense. He genuinely lives in this world. We've watched him enough that we have no other explanation other than this is just his fantasy world that he lives in.
I have another question about Big D. Am I missing something, and he actually is the best social player that's ever touched this game? Because I don't know if it's because I've seen the feeds and like I have my opinions about him, but from what they've shown on this TV show, he's not even that funny to me. Like, he's like, okay. Like, I liked a couple of his struts and like him twerking, but like other than that, I don't find him to be that entertaining. So
I know. Honestly, okay, I thought he was going to be, I thought we were in for something. We were going to love him. He was going to be so funny. He was not. But if you want to talk about a great social game, that's what Xavier did this season. Xavier's social game might be one of the best. There is nothing historic about Big D's social game. He literally became a GOAT early on, and people dragged him to the end.
I think that he's mistaken being dragged to the end as being is keeping himself off the block. So he's the whole time, I guess we're going to talk about this probably tomorrow, but the whole time he's been thinking like, oh my God, I'm so scared. You're going to nominate me, even though nobody was ever going to nominate him. So, but he believed that he's a threat. And so he thinks that because they don't nominate him, that he's done something, but like he's never even been part of the equation. So
no, he didn't have the time, didn't know what was going on. He was not looped in. Like, that's a good social game, is getting looped into things, right? And that's what Xavier did. And you're right. We're going to talk about each of them tomorrow in detail. But yeah. No, you're not missing anything, Chantele.
Okay. I'm just like, am I delusional?
Yeah, that's
I
it.
missed something?
You've been convinced that you have completely missed something. No, oh my gosh. Well, let's get into these spoilers here a little bit. We do have a couple tidbits here to happen. Something literally just happened on the feeds, you guys. So I have to do a little song and dance here. Chantele, give me some jazz hands or something so I can go spoilers, spoilers, spoilers. Yay, thank you.
Anytime to get my hands moving, I'm into it.
Yes. Well, first spoiler is part 2 of HOH was played, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but Big D did not beat Ozza.
What?
Ozza actually won part 2.
No way. Absolutely. I can't believe that. No. Oh, Big D said that he was going to beat Ozza no matter what.
He did. He felt it in his soul that he was going to do it, but he was unable to pull it out. It sounded like there was a treadmill, but he somehow was on his knees on the treadmill. He hurt his knees. It was not going to go well for him, and it did not go well for him.
I'm wondering if it's kind of like you're on the treadmill and you kind of miss your step and you kind of just land on your knees and kind of get dragged back on the treadmill. Maybe that type of stitch. Now, not that I want Big D to win any of these competitions or think that he could if they were altered at all, but I am curious as to why the production in general and like the game creators, why they haven't made it a little bit more inclusive, some of these competitions that these players are playing in. I was always annoyed in the recent seasons how it's like if you're the super physical guy, you're going to be able to beast out in the end. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't really watch Big Brother for comp beast. I want comp, I'll go to challenge because that's where people excel in that area. I'll go to American Ninja Warrior. Like, I go to Big Brother for silly competitions that anybody can win and has to do maybe with the show or whatnot. Like, I don't care about physical stuff really. So unless it's endurance and they stay out there for 14 hours. Like I'd rather watch someone press a button for 14 hours than I do have somebody on, that big cone thing. So
yeah,
I'm not sure if they're being inclusive.
I definitely remember being just so upset watching Nicole Anthony go against Jackson in one of these last comps that she obviously knew all her days, but she could not run as fast as he could and do the slingshot or whatever it was they were doing. And that just automatically gave him the edge and the win because of the physicality of it. I agree. Now, changing it midstream and saying like our final 3 has a bigger guy, let's change for him. I'm not a fan of that.
Right. Correct.
But in general, like we do not need a ton of physical comps. And I kind of felt like the beginning half of this season didn't have a ton of physical comps. And I appreciated that.
Absolutely. And like, I'm more impressed when people win competitions when it's like days stuff or like put things in order or like I've watched this show since the very beginning, and that's what ended up being really important is like being very particular about like we didn't even have like a face morph comp. Like what? I love the face morph. Like
yeah,
come on.
That's fun. They have to study each other, get to know each other. I absolutely
hide the veto.
Love a puzzle equalizer. Yeah.
Move things in the house. What's missing? Like none of the ones that anybody can win if they're just paying attention.
Right.
And that's what I like about the show, or I did like about the show, is that you didn't need to be a physical competitor in order to win the game. You could just be any person that had a love for the show that was willing to go in, be social, and just like absorb everything that's happening in the game in order to do well. And so I think they're losing, from my perspective, a little bit of the integrity that I was drawn in upon, which is the strategy and social.
Yeah, I hear you. Absolutely. Well, once Ozza won this, Big D's attitude completely changed. He was riding high, and then he was sitting low. He was really upset with himself. He was really upset that Ozza beat him. He is taking it out on Ozza. And similarly to the way that we saw Kylan sort of just drop Big D last week, not put in any work, and instead pick fights with him, Big D is making the same choice this week. From that moment that Ozza won part 2, he has picked fights with her. He has been rude to her and disrespectful. And you guys, right before Chantele and I went live, Ozza called Xavier over and said, I'm going to pray on this tonight, but I think I'm going to take you if I win part 3. Let me back out just a bit. That's the spoiler. That's the update. But the last 2 days, Ozza and Big D have been fighting. He is being really aggressive with her. And they're obviously both complaining to Xavier. He's the middleman. And he has taken this door that DF kicked wide open for him. He said to Big D, like, probably best that you guys keep your distance until finale. And then he has been extra cuddly with Ozza and making statements like, oh, I guess these were Big D's underlying feelings about you. I guess he's just, in a bad place. So he's letting it all out. And like, I wanted to keep you. Like, I had to convince him last week, but it's because I wanted you here. And it is really disrespectful to say that someone doesn't deserve to be in the end. That was one of my favorites because, yeah, you're right. It is disrespectful. Xavier, you've been saying it for weeks, who does and does not deserve to be in the end. But I appreciate what he's doing right now because he has scooped Ozza into a safe, cuddly little world where it's okay for her to take him instead of Big D.
I mean, this is definitely, he should have been, this should have been his MO no matter what. Like, he should have not been so vocal with, like, I'm taking Big D for sure. Both of them shouldn't really, I don't think, have been like, hey, I'm taking Big D. Oh, I'm taking Big D for sure, no matter what. But
it was really odd that they were doing that.
That the best social gamer of the season is losing his spot as being the final 2 GOAT by his best friend, who has basically played the same game as him and has been with him from the very beginning, where there was no doubt that she would ever take anybody else over him ever. He's losing his final 2 seat because he's such an a-hole to her.
Yeah. This is like, I respect and value what Xavier is doing by stepping in here and trying to make the most of this. Absolutely. But this is Big D's doing. All he had to do was sleep. All he had to do was continue to do exactly what he has done this whole season and maybe throw in a lie here or there to Ozza of like, girl, of course, I love you. I would take you. It's us. Like, why would you choose this route of like picking fights with her?
And saying, I don't know if he said it to her or said it to Xavier, but being like, I'm going to lose against Ozza. I'm going to lose against her.
We know what he means by that.
She's a woman.
And I'm sorry. I don't believe that women just vote for women.
They don't.
Just because they're women.
But they would vote for Ozza over Big D, this particular jury. But I don't agree that it will be necessarily women versus, like, if that's not the reason why.
Right. He can't. I mean, he says to Ozza, I can't sit next to you. I lose next to you, but I can beat Xavier. And Ozza's like, that does not make sense. That does not compute. And it doesn't. It does not compute because what he is saying is the women are going to vote for you just because you're a woman. And that is a bunch of bull that I cannot get on board with. And also, you don't beat Xavier, Big D. Sorry.
At all. You'll get the same 0 votes. Maybe you'll get Kylan's vote.
You're not,
Oh,
yeah,
no,
you're
maybe
not getting
not.
it
Like, I don't
close.
even know what, like, Brittany's maybe? No, Brittany's giving that to Xavier. She thinks that Xavier has been playing the best game to Brittany right now.
Yeah. Now Azah has been talking, since all this frustration has happened, and she's
absolutely.
like, why is he so mean to me? Why is he so disrespectful? Like, why would I've been just saying this whole time, because we've been working together this whole time, that I would take him, but I've never made a deal with him because he has been honest about his deals with other people.
Absolutely.
So she was just saying she was going to take her friend to the end. And now that her friend is being mean to her, she has said, I know that I probably can beat Big D. But true Azah fashion, she says, but I've never been. Well, she phrases it like, I'm not money motivated. I don't care about the money. So do I want to sit next to someone that I care about and who is treating me with respect and lose? Or do I want to take this guy who doesn't deserve second place and give him second place? That's what she's been saying lately.
Well, listen, I'm wondering though, because like I know that you're like you've been saying that Xavier's been playing the social game. I believe that so much. He really hasn't had to do anything. He's really like gone to sleep at 10 p.m. Like he didn't really participate actively. Like he did sleep through most of it. He won one early comp that he didn't really want to win. So I don't know if his social game has been that great. I think he's just was in a very good position where he had everybody doing all the business around him and he can just like reap the benefits because he was in the cookout. But I'm wondering if Azah could persuade the jury that the reason why she's taken Xavier is because Big D would have been too disrespectful to the entire game, to the entire season, and and maybe call out Big D. Like she did not want to give him that second place, and maybe make them understand why she would go to the end with Xavier, even though everybody said that she can't do that. Explaining why she did that. I don't know. I could be enticed to give it to Azah for feeling like, oh, because Big D was going to be disrespecting the game completely. So if she makes a good speech, I can be behind it. I could.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, do they always know exactly what they need to say? No. I mean, if someone asks her, and it's a fair question to be like, why would you bring Xavier, who clearly could easily beat you, right? If they phrased it like that, and she knew enough to say, Big D was a jerk, and he lost my respect, and I brought Xavier. Pull a Nicole. Wait, is that her name?
Yep.
From Survivor South Africa, not Big Brother Nicole. Look how quickly I forgot her name. Oof.
You got it. You're on it. You're on.
Pull that and say, I brought Xavier. He didn't win his way here. I brought him. I made the choice. I hear you. I could get on board with that. I don't know.
I was upset in the beginning, like when you first mentioned it, as like, I'm just like, come on, just take the win. Like, fine, you don't want to be money motivated, but the people around you that can benefit from you, who is a very like a kind, honest person that would do really well with the money, like maybe think about it in that context and how much you can help other people with having that extra amount of money. If you're not money motivated, like you can share that with other people. So I wish that she could maybe reframe this money, like she doesn't, it doesn't need to be greedy for her, but like when people have more, they can do more. And so if she wants to do more, I think that she should do her best to be able to help as many people as she can with $750,000 instead of giving it to somebody else because she doesn't want to, reward Derek F. So I wish it was more. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, well, to that point, like I think I can see both sides. So I see, win, take Big D and win the gosh darn game and be the first Black winner here, and be a female and do it and kick some butt. Like, absolutely, I see that. But then Big D is still rewarded second place.
I know.
And Xavier, who I think played a better game than Big D, gets third place. So the other side of that is don't reward Big D. Take the person that you think, if they don't win the whole thing, is a better second place. Tell Big D to shove it. And
I mean, that would be delicious as well. If that's what's going to go down, that's delicious.
Right? That's why, like, I don't hate either way. I definitely understand the rage of like, why are you trying to lose this game, Ozzy? Don't do it. But I also feel the rage of Big D deserves nothing more than what he's got.
Well, he already like, you know, in that veto competition, he won some extra money.
Yes.
So he's up some money, he gets more money for, you know, being in the final 3. So
those are other points that Xavier just happened to bring up while they were cuddling. Was I mean, he already won money. And he said this whole time that he just wanted to make 5th place, right? So he's made that goal. And you know what? He's probably going to win America's Favorite House Guest. So he'll get that too. Don't worry about it. He'll be fine. No. Like, they don't know that, though.
No. I'm just actually wondering, though. Meant to ask you, like, with the whole blunder of the Derek X debacle of the BB Bucks, do you think that the casual audience has figured out that Derek F is Big D and Derek X is Little D? Like, have they figured this out? Like, I don't know. Have him think I want him to win America's Favorite Player because he's my least favorite player this season.
Yeah, I really don't want him in the top 3. I agree. I can't reward. I mean, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt that he doesn't realize these things about himself, and he will learn and grow from all of this. But yeah, he doesn't need to be rewarded with the top 3. But I don't understand why he got all those BB Bucks every week. So there might be a large contingent of people who really do support him, and he could make the top 3.
Maybe, but I figured out a way to vote. And so I was like practicing whatever. And I put in Derek's name, and it does pop up the number 1 or number 2, but I would be inclined just to press 1. You know what I mean? Like instead of 2, like 1 is just an easier number it's flashy. Press 1. Don't press 1. Like, what do you mean? I'll press 1. And I just can see people just pressing 1 and not realizing.
Even though
it pops
they
up.
think they're voting for Derek X and they voted for Derek F anyway, you think? I don't know. He still got 100 even after Derek X was gone.
Did he go down? He went down.
Oh, did it? I thought he got 100 every week.
Did it? Or maybe he did.
I thought so.
Wait, because then he went up. Because Tiffany went up, I think. Wasn't it?
Yeah, Tiffany went up.
It wasn't Claire and D, was it?
Claire took Little D's Derek X's spot, but Big D was still.
I don't remember, but I thought he went down because I thought that there was like it was something.
Did he?
Like, he went down to 75, and I was like, I wonder if he like recognized that like he wasn't as popular as he thought as soon as Derek X went.
All right, I'm here for what you are saying. This logic, this philosophy, this theory. This is okay. All right. Well, I don't think.
Why are we voting though by text? Why? I know we talked about this before, but like, why? Just.
Right,
I can put something on a computer real easy where you can click and we can tally it up. It could do it. I could do it.
I don't know why we're texting, but everyone get in your votes for Tiffany, Derek X, Hannah, or Claire. These are the front runners I'm hearing.
Yes. So what I've literally been doing, because I think that Tiffany, for the person that I feel has lost the most in the mission, like she had to choose, and she chose the mission before she chose her own personal game, and with that decision she ended up going out 6th, and I just want her to be rewarded for her actual selflessness that none of the men of the cookout right now are giving her any credit for. like she actually gave up her entire game for them. And I think that she is somebody that would do well with the money. Of course, she didn't get the extra stipend for being in top 5. Like, I think that her contribution to the cookout should be balanced out with the America's Favorite Player. And she was also my favorite player, on top of that.
Right. Yeah. No, I agree. I think that so far, Julie and Big Brother has done a great job of making it very clear that Tiffany deserves all of the credit here on the success of the cookout. And for that, I would love for her to get this reward and this money and get the acknowledgement. I really hope on the finale they keep making it clear, because there's a few people in the cookout who do not want to give her credit, and they don't even know that they were protected by her.
Like her and Kylan for sure protected them the whole way through. Now, wow, I forgot what I was going to say.
Xavier would not be here in the end if it were not for
way.
Kylan and Tiffany. They protected him, and he doesn't know that. He doesn't know he was in danger.
I would just want them to be like, wow, like everybody wants Tiffany, like, and just for them maybe to be like, whoa, like what's happening, like Memento styles, where it's just like flashes of like, oh, it was all Tiffany, it was Tiffany, it was Tiffany. Like, I would love for them to do a montage like that. Actually, that would be amazing. Oh, that's what I was going to ask you. So, what did you think about? I believe it was in yesterday's episode that they showed Big D and his fight with Tiffany when she's sitting on the little stoop in the storage room, and it was like back and forth, like you rolled up on me, like that whole fight, and then him again calling her the B word, which after that, like when that actually happened on the show, the next week he got all those BB bucks. So do you think that this was for them to knock Tiffany down a peg and then maybe boost up Big D, since it seems like people really enjoyed seeing Big D talk down to Tiffany and then also commenting on Whitney's top?
I don't know, because I don't take those things as flattering. I don't take it that way, but I know I don't watch TV the way that some people do. Like, I don't get into the fights and stuff, but I do know a lot of people do. So I felt like they were just showing a fight because people love fights. And they both look like they're in the wrong to me. Like, Tiffany really does come at Big D, and I thought this was bad for her social game. And Big D, goes around and calls her the B word, which I didn't think was great for him either. So to me, I thought it was just kind of salacious drama to show in a TV show, not really helping or hurting either one.
I feel like it hurts Tiffany, though, personally.
Yeah.
And, like, people seem to love, like, Big D's sass or whatever you want to label it as. And I think it makes Big D, not in a way that I appreciate it. It makes him look good, calling her out, not letting her, whatever, treat him a certain way. And it makes her look like not a great person. I don't know. It's a bad look for Tiffany. Even though I think both of them don't look good in my eyes. I'm just wondering about the casual. Like, why are they showing this again?
Right. Because it's a fight. We didn't have a ton of fights, and they love to show fights. Ken is asking what we think this part 3 will be. I mean, it's usually one of two. And it really is interesting to see which one we might get, because it can be sort of you need to be lucky and know how a jury member might answer a question, which is much harder than a more straightforward, when did this happen kind of thing.
I don't know if it's just because I'm a purist, but I do like the fact that when you get to this point in the game, knowing how, or being able to predict how the people that you spent your entire summer with, how that they would respond to something. I think that it would show if you really did have that great of a social game, or be like, no, she would never have said that. Or, oh, you know what? Yes, she would, because, and then rationalizing as to what you know about each of those people would guide you to be making an educated decision as to what you think that they would say. So I personally really like that element. And I know that Xavier hates that could be a possibility, because it's like, he doesn't know these people as much as Ozza does. And I'm like, But I think that you should know these people as much as Oz's done personally to want them to vote for you, right? Like, I think that I know I like comp personally. I don't necessarily need to see them just like, did this happen before this? Like an A and B comp at the final head of household. No, I think knowing your fellow house guests to me is a little bit more like deserving of that position.
I agree. It really does play into the social game. But honestly, I think Xavier and Ozza have very similar social games. Like they were building good connections with some of the house guests. And then also Ozza slept in her bedroom a lot. And also Xavier wasted a lot of time cuddling with Whitney for a while. So I think that they both have the potential, but maybe don't know everything perfectly. But I agree with you. Like, I love to see it. I love to see how well you do know your house guests, even though I think there's a little element of luck in there and we can't really predict who will win because of that.
Absolutely. And I just like, I hope that I feel that it's not lopsided. You know what I mean? Like it was already a little bit lopsided for the first part. We haven't seen the second part, but it definitely was lopsided there. I just don't want it to really favor one of them over the other than them, their social game being better or worse, or getting to know your fellow house guests better, more or less. I don't want it to, I don't know, I guess it wouldn't be physical, but like, I just don't want it to be heavily favoring one person over the other.
Yeah. Well, we don't know who's going to win part 3 here.
I want it to be Ozza so badly. Oh, and then just like, do you think Big D would grovel?
I don't know. I mean, I would think he should be groveling right now. This is the time. The moment that someone wins and the moment that they make the eviction / bring someone is such a short time. You put in the work now, people.
Like he should be like kikiing with us. I mean, like, oh my God, we're so close. It could be me and you, 2 jokers. Who would have thought? Like, you know, and that's what I would be doing. I'd be hyping her up for the storyline of 2 jokers making it to the end. Wouldn't that be funny? Like, let's do it. Not
this is why it blows my mind. Is like, what? Yeah, that's all you had to do was be like, bestie, here we go. Oh my God, look at you. You might be winning part 3. We're gonna 2 jokers standing up together at the end. They won't lose their mind. Like all of that. What?
Where's Fundy? Where's social guy? Like this is his moment. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, but if she does win part 3 and take Xavier, it is solely on Derek's shoulders. He did this to himself.
Taryn has been like kind of saying that Big D might be one of the worst players of all time. And if that happens, like
then
he
I will agree.
Really might be the worst player of all time.
Yeah. Yeah, I when Taryn first said it, I was like, whoa, okay, wait, okay. I don't know. I'm still have issues with Matt Klein's Mr. I Eat Cereal all the time.
I was like, who? I'm like,
yeah, exactly. Like I know a lot of people like to name Victoria.
Though, so
right, exactly. Yeah, I get that. But yeah, no, if this costs him and Ozza takes Xavier, then yeah, we can put Big D in that category for sure.
That would be delicious as well.
Yeah, I'm not gonna hate it. I'm not gonna hate it if she does it. I know some people will say she's just throwing her game away, but
I'm
okay.
I realize with Oz as a player, I can't hope or want her to do what I would do. So I have to just let it go and just be okay with whatever she decides to do, because willing her to do what's either best for her game or what I would do or what I want her to do, or none of that's going to be what she does or why she does it. So I just have to like allow her to do what she chooses and be okay with it.
Yes. Thank you for this super chat. The only good thing if Ozza takes Big D will be Brittany's reaction to the Joker's making. That's true. God, Do I love Brittany's reactions?
Do you?
I do. Her being the first juror is the gift we all needed. It's
How is
her
she so hyped?
reactions are the best.
I'd just be like,
I don't know, but I'd like a little bit of whatever she's on. Yes, please. It's just as delusional as we want our jokers to be, right?
It's true. It's true. I mean, it's really funny if we look at how these teams kind of made out, that the Joker's team were literally all like, the Jokers would say, like, if I were to categorize them, they would all be fitting on the Joker's team. And I think that that's kind of hilarious.
Oops. I meant to highlight this one. Amy, you missed it. I did the song. It's only on a couple streams, but I did it. You'll just have to rewind it. You'll find it. It's fun. It's good. It's great. Guess what, you guys? Tomorrow, I have assembled quite the panel. I'm very excited about this. Tomorrow, Chantele is joining me. Jessica Milagros is joining me. And Sharon from Us Weekly, managing editor, she is joining me. And we are going to talk about each of these final three. We're going to talk about their games. We're going to talk about what the heck they can say if they get to final two. What are their chances of winning? We're going to break it all down. I'm very excited about that. That is tomorrow at 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern.
I'm actually really excited because, like, if this is a taste of what it's going to be like, just like being just so frustrated and just like I love these kind of talks for sure. Just been like, I think it'll be a fun one.
Amy, thank you for the super chat. It's okay to be late. I'll sing it to you, Amy. I'll send you a video file and you can just listen.
Is this like what you're going to be doing on Cameos now? Like,
yes. For $1, just let me know and I will sing the song for you guys. Not a problem. So yeah, that's tomorrow. I'm very excited about that because I think, the downside is we have the three, how do I phrase this? The three better players have already left the game. So we're left with these three that don't even know half of what happened in the game. But that makes it a little fun to discuss what the heck they can say at final two. I
don't know what they can say.
And how they can win.
I'm going to really think about it, actually. And, like, I'm going to construct, like, their winning speech. Like, I'm going to figure something out.
Yes, I'm excited to talk about it. Madison, I don't know. One day, Taryn's gonna realize that we're BFFs, and he's gonna have me on bucket list. It's gonna happen.
Bucket list. I mean, I could maybe help facilitate. So we'll see if you're interested.
I would just nerd out the whole time. I'd be like, Taryn.
I remember the first time I was just like, I'm just gonna be super cool. And I'm like,
I love it. I love it. All right. Well, you guys in the chat have been wonderful as always. Super appreciate it. And if you're joining later, please leave a comment how you feel about these two part 1 and part 2 winners here. How you feel like this end game might go. I don't know what else to leave a comment about.
That new tea. Like, do you think that Azza will actually take Xavier if she wins part 3 of the? That I want to know if people think that she actually would.
Right. I mean, she said she's going to pray on it tonight. So, I mean, I guess there's a chance that Big D wakes up, nice tomorrow and she could change her mind again. But that is where we just left it with her on the feeds.
I mean, I might watch tomorrow just to see, like, if anything goes down after she prays on it. I do want to know what she's going to do. And I really want her to win to have to make that decision. Regardless of whatever decision she makes in the end will be very interesting. And so I want her to be in that position. Like, womp womp. Xavier takes Big D. And they can sit and be like, we're the 2 best men of the season. Everybody together. Like, do I want that? No. I don't think so. But maybe with the speech that I write, like, I'll want it.
I've just been sitting here for weeks thinking that that was our final two. And so the fact that we even have a possibility of something else is quite surprising for me, at least. I was just preparing myself. But again, thank you guys so much for joining. Please join us tomorrow for our very fun panel. I'm excited about that. And then obviously Wednesday after the finale, I'll be live with David. Will you be live on Reality Realness?
Probably later, because I think
Mhm.
that I'm going to watch and do a recap of the challenge first, and then
Mm.
late start watch and catch up with Big Brother, and then maybe do like an hour later. I mean, we're gonna be like midnight streams here.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a midnight stream most likely. So yes, I'll be
Oh,
after you
goodness.
most likely are finished. Most
All
likely.
right, great. So Nerdtainment, then Reality Realness.
Yay.
Perfect. Yay. All right, you guys, we will see you next time. Bye.